What's on today's menu? Blueies? Lampreys?
Blueies. We should use blueies.
And more blueies.
Yeah, definitely more blueies. Heads and tails. Head on one, tail on the other. And if the fishing's a bit slow, Adam, guess what we can do?
What?
Have a lamprey fight.
Yes. Look how bloody that one is there.
We could sort of play the same rules as conkers. Whoever's like smashes up each other's lamprey. Or we could wait till they fall out and slap each other around the chops and
Well, no, a bit slimy.
be like a bloodbath.
Yeah. Got a nice and simple setup today. No frills. Usual setup. 12-foot 2 3/4 rod for my drain fishing. Fox dead bait rod. Nice bait runner reel. Loaded with 40-pound Predator Elite braid, which is a lovely braid actually. It's their new one. Super smooth. It's lovely. Nice floating braid. Using a rubber float stop to set the depth. We've got a 35-gram float. Nice 30-gram sinker because it's flowing quite fast today and it's windy, really windy. You've got like 40-mile-an-hour gusts today. It's a bit of a nightmare fishing the Fens, to be honest, on the drains. And then my normal trace. Got my quick change link on there. Always set it 2 or 3 feet over depth and it's like this. So the whole weight is on the bottom. 40-pound wire. A couple of size 4 trebles with my bait flags on the point, on the barbed ones. That's it, nice and simple. Just need to put it in front of a pike. Right, Adam and I are out in the Fens again. We've come to a nice Fenland drain. It's not too much of a drive for us. Conditions are far better now. We've had loads of rain lately. They've had a good flush through. Most of the cabbages have all been blasted out of the way. So yeah, should be good for it now. We're about a kilometre walk from the van, so we've had a good old walk to get up here. Arriving in the dark, about 7 o'clock this morning we got here. And we've sort of spread 3 rods out, one in the margin, one in the middle, one on the far bank, staggered like I always do. Got nice lamprey section off some reeds close in. Always have one close in, especially at dawn. And the middle rod got a nice oily bluey head on. And then another lamprey head just on the far bank, upstream a little bit. It's about 6-7 foot here. There's loads of roach here at the moment as well. So hopefully it shouldn't take too long to get a bite. See how we get on. Don't mind me, mate.
That's the last thing we needed. But thankfully, they've gone to chop some reeds down somewhere else.
I've just wound this in to reposition it, which I normally do every hour or so. Always either twitch them, wind them in, flick them back out, because it sometimes instigates a bite when you've done that. Because often a pike will be sat there staring at it. When you recast it to the same spot, you often get a bite. Oh, it hasn't worked today yet, has it, Adam?
No.
And this bluey head I've had on looks pretty knackered. I've obviously I've probably recast 3 or 4 times this morning, and that is mullered. Look.
Time for a fresh one.
It's time to put a fresh, try a tail section, I think. Get rid of that. Right, I'm always getting asked as well what dead baits I like using. And to be honest, I only really use 2 or 3 baits. I've definitely got my favourites. First of all, I like whole lamprey. These are really difficult to get hold of this year. These are ones I actually bought last season. I've held on to a few so I can use them. I like whole ones because they're full of blood. Cut them in half so you get 6 baits out of a packet. And I found I catch just as many on the tails as I do the heads, to be honest. So there's that one. Probably my second favourite bait is large blueies, which I cut in half so you end up with a tail and a head. I quite often use the heads, to be honest now. This season I've favoured the heads. They're all full of all the blood and guts. They're very oily, blueies. Very oily indeed. You normally get a little flat spot when you flick them out. Caught a lot of pike on blueies. So that's my second favourite. And that is all we have bought with us today. Blueies and lamprey. That's how confident we are in it. The only other thing we'd use is fresh roach. Sometimes like freshly killed ones or dead roach. That's it really. So that's what we flip between. You know, if we were going to fish somewhere we hadn't fished before, we would fish a roach on one, bluey head on the other, and a lamprey head or tail. And if I'm catching on one more than the other, sometimes I'll put them all on lamprey. But that's how I'd normally fish, is I'd literally put 3 rods out on lamprey. But I can't actually do it this year because I'm getting so low on lamprey. Like, these are like gold dust. I literally...
Is that your last pack?
Well, it's not quite the last, but it feels like a waste, you know. We're getting plagued with small pike this season. And it hurts. It hurts my feelings because I'm wasting these lovely lampreys on like 12, 13 pound pike when they're meant for the big ones. And I'm going to run out before the end of the season, which I'm losing sleep over. I'm crying in my pillow every night. But anyway, enough of that sob story. Let's put this bluey tail on and recast it out. That's a lovely fresh bluey tail. Nick one hook in there, just like that. All lovely. And the other one nicely in there. Like you say, and I normally have 3 inches between the trebles like that. The only way you'd miss the bite is if a little pike grabbed it in the middle and swam off like that. But I mean, who wants to catch one like that anyway? Normally a great big pike, they normally grab it like that. And they swallow it head first, generally speaking, pike. So that's why you have the tail up the line. So as it goes down their throat, that end will be going down. That end will be poking out the mouth. But then you ruin its fun as you give it a good strike nice and early and the hooks pull out of the bait, tear out of this nice soft bluey and lodge into the pike scissors. That's it, job done. I'm going to put this one just over the ledge, Adam, I think.
Good idea.
The wind's got ever so strong now. Yeah, right, let's pop that on there. I just like to tighten up to the float with my rod slightly high in the air, so there's no braid actually laying on the surface, it's just going straight to my float. That way when loads of rubbish is drifting down the drain, it doesn't get all caught up around your line. Otherwise you're forever having to keep recasting every 5 minutes. That's it. Pop the alarm on, bait runner. The alarm's really there just for a backup. You know, I'm always close to my rods and watching the floats like a hawk all day. The alarm's pretty much there just in case you got your back turned or dealing with another fish, it alerts you to its attention. So yeah, that really is windy now, isn't it? Yeah. We're supposed to be between 20 and 30 mile an hour. Now it feels like 130. Maybe that's just because we're out in the middle of the Fens somewhere. It's pretty uncomfortable. And we haven't had a bite yet. But we're going to stick it out anyway, because it only takes 1 bite on the Fens. The amount of times I've had a bite 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, or even lunchtime, it's been the only bite of the day and it's been a clonker. It's always worth persevering. Lovely. Right, something we're going to run through, which we get asked about in the tackle shop, St Ives Tackle, every day, is how to unhook a pike. Lots of people getting very confused about the best way to go about it. So we're going to show you exactly how to do it and what tools you need to get the job done. First of all, I like to carry 2 pairs of 8-inch forceps all the time. In case you drop one in the grass, it's always good to have a spare. Quite often I'll have one clipped on my jacket, so that if I need to chin a small one in the margin without having to net it, I can just grab hold of him, unhook him, let him go without even touching him. Gets you a unhooking them nice and clean, and get your rod back out on the spot and get fishing again. You know, if it doesn't need netting, we like to just not do it. Then some pistol grip pliers. These are always worth having, because if you get one like a big hook that's gnarly, especially lure fishing as well, you need a proper set of pliers so you can grab hold of them, give them a little twist, pop it out. And these, most importantly, they're a big lump to carry around, which is annoying because they weigh a ton in your rucksack, but they're essential. These cutters, not for cutting wire, but for cutting hooks. If you get a pike that's a little bit deep hooked or a little bit awkward, you can snip the points off the trebles with these. It just goes through them like butter. Or even if you get like one hook in the net and one in the fish, rather than mess around trying to unhook the pike and cause damage to it, you're better off just cutting your hooks out of it, so you can just pull it all out, all the little bits. It's much safer for the pike that way. So yeah, if I've got a treble hook like this, you imagine if that was in a fish a little bit deep, like that, you can literally, easy as that, go straight through the point. Or even if you've got 3 knitted up, say it's hooked a bit deep, you can literally crunch through the whole hook like that. That's what they're for. Then you can pull all them little bits apart like that. Look. You can literally just go snip, point's gone, and then you'll be able to unhook it all and take the little bits out with your forceps. So yeah, that's what that's for. So never go fishing. Forceps, pistol grip pliers, cutters. They're the essentials. And then you're going to need a proper unhooking mat. This is a bit like the Fox Easy mat, but it's the Predator version. Folds up flat, it's quite compact, and it's brilliant, especially if you're a bit of a novice piker. If you're new to it, these mats with sides on are brilliant because you haven't got the pike skidding off the mat or anything. It allows you better control. And it might seem a bit overkill when you're catching a few 10, 12 pounders, but trust me, when you get a big one, you know, you get a 25 pounder and that soon dwarfs this big mat, and you'll be glad you've got it with you. And also, see a lot of people not using proper sized nets. I would always use a 42-inch net, a proper 42-inch carp size net, and a 6-foot handle. And I've actually put a rubber mesh on this, a Fox Rays rubber mesh. It actually fits one of their X-Flow XL rubber nets, but it fits 42-inch carp landing net arms perfectly. So you can convert your normal soft mesh, which is horrible, you get all your trebles stuck in it. Once you've got one of these rubber ones on, they're so much easier to get your trebles out of. So much better. Because you need to be able to have a net with you that's big enough to land the biggest pike that you might get in contact with. Like for us fishing the drains, you know, it wouldn't be unheard of to catch a big upper 20, 27, 28 or even bigger hopefully one day. And you need to be able to net it properly. It'd be no good having a great big fish on like that and you can't net it. So yeah, always have the right tools, the right mat and the right net. You can't go wrong then. All you need to do is catch pike. Finally. That took a while, didn't it?
Certainly did.
On the old lamprey. Smoking the lamprey like a big fat cigar. Right, let's show you how to deal with this pike properly. As you can see, there's a flying treble there, so be very careful. Lamprey, so there's only one hook in it. It's best to just straddle your pike. Just slide 2 or 3 fingers in there. Grip the outside of the jaw, then it naturally just opens like that. And as you can see, we've struck nice and early, so it's in the scissors. Ooh, and if it flares like that, you just put it down gently. So like that. You
just nicked in the scissors. Easy as that, look. Out it comes, nice and safe. That treble we had one treble in the scissors, one hanging out, so you have to be careful. Sometimes it's best to chin them out the margins because that can get caught in your net, and then that one in the fish. But yeah, I'll just demonstrate that one more time. Literally just get control over your pike, so upside down like that. Literally just gently in there and grip with the thumb on the outside. You don't need a gag or any rubbish like that, just a good pair of forceps. You can see there, you can get to where you need to, easy as anything. It's just that these are the bits that are very delicate on a pike, these hinges on the jaw, because often your trace or your net can get wrapped around there, so you need to be very careful of these bits. They're very delicate fish. Right, we're getting about 40-50 mile an hour winds now. This has been very welcome indeed. On the left hand rod. Yeah. It's better than a blank. Just sailed away just as we were thinking of packing up and trying another spot. All of a sudden this little fatty came along. Lovely jubbly.
There we go.
Should we move, Adam? Should we give it 5 more minutes?
I think we'll give it another hour.
Another hour? Oh my god, that's fantastic.
What you got there?
Beans and wieners. Put it in my food fast this morning. That's nice and hot. Reminds me of the kid when we used to go pike fishing in Scotland. Always had beans and wieners in a mess tin. Staple diet of a pike angler, isn't it? Beans and wieners. Lovely. Oh,
Is that taking you back?
it's heartwarming. It's lovely. Well, as you can see, it's blowing a gale. And we have managed to catch one earlier. It's not what we set out to do. We were hoping to get a few takes this morning. But we feel like we were gifted that one, really. It was better than nothing, I'd say. We came to a similar area to this, not far from here last week. We caught a nice double. That's why we've come back to this swim, because we saw plenty of roach scattering and caught a lovely clean double. We thought, let's come here, we'll catch a few, which is famous last words, because it's not really panned out like that, Adam, is it?
No.
And the weather's totally different. It weren't too windy last week, it was flowing a little bit. Now this week, it's absolutely blowing a gale, and it's flowing a lot, like a hell of a lot.
It's just started raining.
Which is typical of the fish in the Fenland drains, really. You literally can't predict it. You know, I fished this Monday and had 3 doubles on Monday. I didn't have my camera with me, so I couldn't film anything, which is absolutely typical. And then today, conditions are completely different. And it's about to absolutely lash it down, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
So I think we're going to call it a day. Don't you reckon, Adam?
I think that's probably wise.
Yeah,
We're going to get soaked.
we are going to get absolutely soaked. We've got an excuse for having another go, though, isn't it? Oh, we didn't catch many. Let's come back and have another go. That's how fishing goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, let's get out of here before we get soaked.